I'm Raghu. I'm an engineer in the GenAI team working on Llama Stack. Just wanted to, first of all, kind of tell you, like, given that Llama models are probably one of the most popular models that are out there, why do you need something like Llama Stack? Since the very beginning until about July, like Roshan mentioned, we've been mostly releasing the model weights themselves and letting the community kind of figure out how to actually use the weights themselves. And we have heard from we look at the community in terms of two parts to it. One is on the developer side and the other is on the providers. From the developers, we heard that you all wanted to get started very quickly using the models. And once the actual models are actually put out there, you really like the fact that because these are open models, you're able to kind of customize them. But just getting started on it is very hard. And also, given that there's not that much information about how the models themselves are trained that are kind of codified, you're having to figure it out by yourselves. From the provider side, and these are folks that are cloud providers, these could be folks like Llama, these could be just the hosted service providers as well. And there are many of our partners who are, many of you who are here. We give you, in some cases, access to the weights, but then even you're having to figure out how to best serve these models for your customers. And not only that, given that you don't have time to build everything yourselves, you also have to build integrations into other tools that are there in the ecosystem so that developers can actually put these things together. So again, looking for codified best practices. Turns out, as we were looking at these problems, we ourselves within Meta were actually solving these ourselves. Given all of the high-scale products that we were building, we had to put together a whole developer experience for our own developers. And of course, we have built our own platform to be able to support the developers in order to build those products. And with that experience, we started defining essentially a set of APIs that we thought would capture all of the capabilities that are needed for kind of doing two things with the models typically, right? One is you customize models for your needs. And then once you customize your model, then you want to actually build applications. Like typically, agentic applications are the norm nowadays. And you need a bunch of primitives for those in order for you to build those applications. So Llama Stack itself started off as a set of APIs. Like I mentioned, there is the model toolchain API. It includes all the different capabilities, like doing inference, doing fine-tuning, running evals, even doing things like continual pre-training and so on. And then on top of that, in terms of the primitives that you need to build out applications, you need RAG or memory, which is kind of the more common or more generic term for RAG. And then, of course, safety and shields for safety. And in July, we released this API spec as an RFC, just to get feedback from the community about what they feel are the most important things. And we've gotten really good feedback from both kind of developers as well as our partners. And in the past couple of months, we have actually been working very hard to actually make these APIs real. We built our own reference implementations towards these APIs, not only as a way to kind of document what, like how to use these models, but also by providing these APIs, we ourselves actually run evals on the implementations that we open source. So what that means is, as our providers are building out their implementations, they can actually test against what our implementations are doing as well. In addition to our own implementation, we also have several launch partners that we have worked with who have built out implementations of a lot of these APIs. And it's just not enough to only have implementations of these different APIs and you just have like a long library of providers. We also wanted to know which of these providers can be packaged together because we know that they actually work well with each other. And that packaging is what we are calling distributions. So once a distribution is quote unquote verified, as in you make sure that they all actually work well with each other, they're now available as containers or as single deployable units, or in some cases, they're even being offered as an API by some of these partners. And these distributions, once they exist, the actual developer experience becomes very, very straightforward, much like what a lot of the closed models also have, because they offer it as a managed service. So we started off building for inference, tool calling, shields for safety, as well as for memory or RAG. And those are the distributions that we are releasing. It's all in open source today. So the developer experience with Llama Stack is actually pretty straightforward. A quick 3 commands to actually start off a distribution once you know what you want, and you can also use a bunch of templates that are there. And once you have a distribution up and running, the code that you need to write in order to run inference, for example, is just this. So there's no other kind of setup that's needed. And not only that, given that we have built out Llama Stack even for on-device, you can even build applications, and you'll see some of the demos in our llama.com website, where building agentic applications on-device with on-device inference is also really straightforward. And the cool thing that we did while we were developing this is that the applications, you could just point them to a remote distribution endpoint, and the apps would just work as if there's nothing else had changed. So with Llama Stack, our goal was to cater to kind of both parts of our community of developers as well as providers. And we are just getting started. So we have been, like I mentioned, provide a bunch of distributions, and we have also published client-side packages for different programming languages like Python, Node, Kotlin. And you have a whole set of distributions that are available, and we welcome you all to kind of build more distributions as well. And for providers, if you actually build towards these APIs, our goal is to make it a lot easier for you to make sure that the services that you're offering on top of Llama models will work as advertised by Meta. Right? So that's our ultimate goal in terms of increasing adoption of Llama. Is all of the folks in Meta spend so much time and energy actually building out these amazing models. And once you put it out there, we want to enable a lot of our providers to actually provide the best possible capability, the best possible kind of experience with the Llama models. To learn more about Llama Stack, you can scan the QR code or go to GitHub, Meta Llama Stack.